Welcome to our deep dive into the world's hot topic, global warming. Today we are comparing the impacts between a 1.5 degrees and a 2 degree C rise in global temperature, as the consequences magnify more than one can assume with just half a degree's difference. Join us to understand the severity each scenario brings to our sea levels, weather patterns, biodiversities, and even our basic necessities such as food and water. Prepare to be enlightened and alarmed as we unpack the top 10 impacts of these temperature rise scenarios. 1. Understanding the challenge of global warming. The concept of global warming might seem abstract, but it has very real consequences for the world we live in. Scientists warn that even a small increase in global temperatures can spell disaster across various ecosystems and human environments. To put it simply, a temperature rise of even 1.5 degrees Celsius can be likened to the Earth running a mild fever. This small change doesn't sound impactful at first, but just like in humans, even a slight fever can indicate something much larger and worrying. Holding the line at 1.5 degrees Celsius is crucial, yet if temperatures rise to 2 degrees, the impacts multiply. Understanding these differences is critical to shaping policies that can mitigate these risks effectively. This 0.5 degrees C difference in temperature rise is not just a number, it's a tipping point for our planet. 2. Impacts on sea levels and coastal areas. The Earth's rising temperatures result in the melting of ice caps and glaciers. At 1.5 degrees Celsius, sea levels are predicted to rise by a certain amount, disturbing coastal ecosystems and life. Yet at 2 degrees Celsius, the scenario becomes much more serious, with sea levels rising significantly higher. This difference can lead to more frequent and severe flooding in low-lying coastal areas, affecting millions of people worldwide. Imagine having to pack your life in a bag because the sea has swallowed your home. This is a reality faced by many living in such vulnerable areas. The battle against rising sea levels becomes an everyday struggle for those communities. Additionally, the economies based on coastal tourism would face declines, causing a ripple effect that impacts livelihoods on a global scale. 3. Changes in weather patterns. Weather patterns are like an intricate dance, closely linked to the planet's temperatures. When temperatures rise by 1.5 degrees, we can expect somewhat more frequent heat waves and less predictable weather. However, if temperatures increase by 2 degrees Celsius, the effects are magnified and cause extreme weather events like hurricanes, droughts, and torrential rains to become commonplace. The term freak weather suddenly becomes a regular headline. These changes can lead to significant hardships for farmers relying on predictable weather for their crops. Imagine planning a picnic, with skies clear in the morning, but a sudden severe storm disrupting your plans without warning. These unexpected weather shifts can make planning and living very difficult for everyone, from large-scale farmers to city planners. 4. Impact on biodiversity and ecosystems. Our planet's biodiversity serves as the backbone of countless ecosystems that play vital roles in maintaining environmental balance. At 1.5 degrees C, we can observe shifts in the distribution of animal and plant species, with some struggling to survive in their natural habitats. At 2 degrees C, the biodiversity toll could lead to irreversible damage. Endangered species face a higher risk of extinction as they fail to adapt to rapidly changing conditions. This is analogous to a domino effect. Once one species goes down, it can affect numerous others that rely on it. Imagine a world without polar bears, animals famous for their ice-laden habitats. Furthermore, coral reefs, which are underwater treasures, might suffer almost complete destruction at 2 degrees Celsius, impacting marine life and humans alike, since so many depend on these reefs for sustenance and tourism revenue. 5. Agriculture and food security. Our food system is intricately linked to climate conditions for crop growth. At a 1.5 degrees Celsius rise, some crops may face moderate yield reductions, challenging but still manageable. However, at a 2°C increase, agricultural challenges intensify with severe heat stress affecting essential grain yields like rice and wheat that underpin global food security. Picture planting a garden and half the plants refusing to grow as expected. The threat here extends beyond just harvest numbers. Food systems face disruption, making food scarcer and consequently more expensive. In addition to direct growth impacts, the extreme weather events stemming from temperature increases pose additional threats that complicate already stressed agricultural systems. Countries dependent on imports will see increased vulnerability, pushing food insecurity into the homes of millions worldwide. 6. Human health risks. Climate change is not just an environmental issue, it poses direct risks to human health. At 1.5 degrees, there is already noticeable strain on healthcare systems as illnesses related to heat waves and air quality worsen. 2 degrees see these risks multiplying, dragging more people into health-related crises. Prolonged heat waves can exacerbate heart and respiratory conditions and affect mental health, creating more demand on already strained healthcare resources. The spread of vector-borne diseases like malaria and dengue expands geographically as pest populations move into previously cooler regions. It's like welcoming unwelcome guests into your already overcrowded home. In addition to physical health, stress and anxiety related to climate-induced losses expose individuals to mental health risks that ripple through communities. 7. Water, availability and quality. Water is a fundamental requirement for life, and its availability and quality are both impacted by global temperature rises. With a 1.5 degree C rise, some regions could experience reduced water availability, putting stress on water-dependent industries and communities. By 2 degrees C, these issues become significantly more pronounced, causing severe water shortages, especially in already arid zones. Imagine waking up to find your taps dry and your well empty, and having to travel miles to fetch this basic necessity. The availability of clean drinking water becomes a precious commodity rather than a given. Agricultural irrigation, which millions depend on to produce food, faces significant cutbacks, leading to further crisis not just for food, but also for the economic stability of affected areas. Social tensions increase as people are forced to compete for dwindling water resources. 8. Threats to ocean health. Oceans cover a vast majority of our planet's surface and play a crucial role in regulating the Earth's climate. A 1.5 degrees increase causes worrying changes to ocean composition, but the effects amplify at 2 degrees with far-reaching results. Ocean acidification and increased temperatures devastate marine life, affecting the global fishing industry and food chains worldwide. Imagine an enormous web of life that slowly disintegrates strand by strand, causing disruptions and collapses throughout its length. Coping with these challenges means sustainable fishing becomes increasingly necessary yet difficult. Ocean currents also undergo shifts, impacting climates worldwide, which influences weather patterns vital for planning human activities ranging from shipping routes to agricultural cycles. The prospect of vibrant, life-enriched oceans turning barren is a daunting challenge facing future generations. In detail, while both 1.5 degrees and 2 degrees C temperature rises are undesirable, the difference in impacts remains stark across most sectors. Understanding this is key to drive global agreements and actions aimed at keeping temperature rises as low as possible. Our actions today determine the severity of impacts we will experience in the near future.